How's it going, guys? My name's Graham and welcome to Two Left Thumbs. I'm doing another ranking of 2 seasons, or 16 Sokpop games. People seem to enjoy the last video. The developers even said they thought it was insightful and helpful in some small ways, so that's really encouraging to keep doing this. One small point of clarification is that I'm going to be ranking games 17 through 32, 16th to 1st. So I'm not ranking them relative to the first batch of 16 games. I think it would be really difficult to do so, and that becomes really overwhelming overall. Generally, I think people just want to know how the games stack up relative to one another, especially within given seasons. So I'm going to keep lumping them in these blocks of isolated 16. So let's get right into it. 16, Oh Crab. The concept of setting a game within a sitcom world is really funny, and doing it with the crabs and fishes and everything is very weird in a delightful way, but I basically had no idea what to do. It's pretty damn buggy, it's very short, and overall the brokenness just makes it not very fun. 15. Visser. A very relaxed, open fishing game. I'm down for a nice casual experience like this. I don't need things to be too action-packed. But just when I was starting to get into things, I realized I didn't really know where I could store my different catches. And without the ability to, track that in some way, for an objectiveless game, I felt robbed of what could have been simple, satisfying moments of accomplishment. Number 14, Penguin Park 3D. You're a zookeeper who have to stop these penguins from pooping all over themselves and getting sick all the time. I generally love penguins, so I thought this was kind of like a funny little wish fulfillment. It was pretty cute, but they were maybe a little too good at killing themselves. It felt very frantic, and I didn't have time to enjoy the cuteness of the penguins because I was too busy hosing down their poop. So, probably realistic. Number 13, Frog Struggles. You spawn as a individual ladybug amidst a colony of other ladybugs. As you travel around, you'll find other insects that occupy this ecosystem, and one humongous frog in the center. The aerial battles were really neat. That was actually more like action-packed and exhilarating than I thought it would be. It's an incredibly funny and smart design choice to have your health be the dots on the ladybug's back. I like that the factions were fighting each other. Now and again, you would just see them having a big showdown and you could fly in and intervene. But in general, the game was a little buggy, pardon the pun. I don't even really know what the goal was. I think I was supposed to be collecting fruit and bringing them back to my place, but sometimes you would be carrying fruit and it would just be invisible and you didn't know if you actually had any, and I just never figured out how to end the game. Number 12, Skidlocked. Basically, Grand Theft Auto on a bike. No, there aren't drugs or pimps or guns or anything like that. Just the style of driving and the little mini-map and all that felt very GTA. I wish there was a little bit more challenge variety, although the concept of the challenges was quite nice. Maybe more obstacles, the ability to do stunts off of objects, or like tricks in general. I honestly kind of wish the physics were more unrealistic for crashing. My favorite thing in games like Grand Theft Auto is stealing a motorcycle, driving it uphill in oncoming traffic, and catapulting yourself a million miles in the air. The randomly generated challenges, though, were a good idea. It kind of added some longevity to the game. This is one of the projects they're actually currently expanding, so you can maybe look forward to a Skidlocked Deluxe down the road. 11. Peppard, a snowball fighting tactical showdown. I appreciate what they were doing here with the real-time strategy feel, but it had a very steep learning curve. I was very bad at it for a very long time, but it was kind of fun to strategize once you got the hang of it. I like the clever mechanics of the snow actually falling and piling up, so you could actually exhaust a specific pile and have to wait for more to come back. It was pretty satisfying to finally pull off a win. The game was hard to learn, but once you knew the basics, I think the way it rolled out challenges was very effective. Number 10, Doler. A gigantic, randomly generated rat maze that has some online functionality. You can leave messages for other players the same way that you would in Dark Souls, but with a lot more poop. People can use their poop piles, encouraging them to go one way for a treasure or avoiding another for some obstacle or enemy. So it's a really funny concept. I love the idea that people can either choose to help or sabotage. It offered up a lot more than I expected. It was surprisingly challenging. The maze was quite large and there was a lot of different things to get in your way or help you. Once things kind of went south, I lost motivation pretty easily. I took a few attempts and eventually felt a little bit overwhelmed. Maybe they could add it that each day there's 3 different sized mazes, so you can start small and go for the big one if you're really feeling it. Number 9, Hoppa. You were trying to hop across this stream, rescue a duck, and bring it back to the beginning with you. This is kind of getting over it-esque. It's very difficult to get the hang of. I feel like depth wasn't represented quite well enough to make consistent attempts. It also felt very limiting going across such a flat plane. If there would have been little plateaus and little indents that you had to go in and out of, it might have made things a bit more interesting. Number 8, Kart Kids. This one actually supports local multiplayer, so we were playing it in 2-player, which is great. You get to play in these little RC racers and zoom around the map. The wobbliness of the carts was incredibly funny. Sometimes the physics really worked against you, but other times it just had like ridiculously funny results. The best thing about this is that you can crank up the number of AI carts to just preposterous numbers, so it was very hilariously chaotic, and I loved that. I would say the drawback is that there only being one map was a bit of a letdown, so after only a few different races with different amounts of AI carts, we were feeling pretty done with it. 7. Clutchball. Generally, it's a round-based dodgeball game. These cater to some very personal preferences of mine. I just find it really satisfying to dodge around and face shot those little oval people. I think the joy that I get of dancing around the arena and landing those big killing blows is similar to what I felt when I first discovered Clone Drone in the Danger Zone. I like that as you progress through the levels, you start earning teammates who will stick with you unless they get eliminated, so there's a little bit of motivation to try and protect them and not just have them do their own thing. It took me something like 30 plus minutes to finally reach the end. Didn't have a lot of replay value, but the first go through was really fun. Number 6. Sakho Loco. This game has since been expanded into Sakho Loco Deluxe. That's something you can buy on Steam now, but there is still the original Patreon version. If you're into trains, you're gonna love this. It's really well done. It's satisfying in a way like Lego or Connects if you want to take things a step further. If you were the type of kid that was destined to be an engineer, if you enjoy that sort of crafting and execution and planning, you're gonna really like that. Even though I was quite bad at it, I really appreciate the complexity in this game. If I'm being honest with myself, it would probably be ranked higher if I wasn't terrible at it. Number 5. Brume. I will say right away, this is one that got expanded to a full release. I have only played the original Patreon version, so I'm not entirely sure how things were improved, but I would say it's generally quite promising that I would give this a number 5 rank on what is essentially a demo of the full game. It's a Dark Souls-esque role-playing game. I would say it didn't have a ton of atmosphere. Obviously, the color and design choices and overall feel of Sokpop games is very strong and quite consistent, but overall, it really just felt like another Sokpop game rather than standing out on its own aesthetically. Even in just small ways, I would have liked to have seen that stretched a bit more. It looks like from the trailer for the full game, they did add a little bit more ambiance and additional equipment, encounters, challenges, all that stuff is guaranteed to add a lot. So it's pretty clear why this one was chosen to develop further. I would already recommend it in its demo state, so I have to imagine the full release is very good. Number 4. Semiland. Another one that has been more fully expanded with a proper Steam release. You have a randomly generated world to interact with, and you have cards to play to affect that world. A common theme in these games is player experimentation, and it's taken further here than ever before in another Sokpop game. I'd say it's very effective on both levels of being a quality sim and quality card game. They seem like they would be kind of at odds with each other, but it works really well. Those moments of discovery and success are just great. It's no wonder this one was expanded. 3. Cappy Hockey. I really debated putting this one at 2, but I think I was ranking it higher, thinking about what I wished was in the game. You're hockey playing capybaras. There's like not much to dislike there. If it were expanded, this could essentially become Sokpop's Mario Tennis. It already has the local multiplayer, or any Mario sports game. Add more unlocks, some weird arenas, powers, modifiers, modes. The game already looks hilarious and plays very, very well. Take that concept and meet it somewhere in the middle between a Mario sports game and like a legitimate NHL series installment, and I think it could be a massive local multiplayer hit. The game could still have some value as a single player experience, but I don't think it would take much to make this one a fun games night staple when you have a few friends over. Number 2, Featherfall. It's tough when there's two different Souls-like-esque games, especially ones that released so close to one another. I'm kind of curious about the behind the scenes of how these two devs ended up making their own takes on this so near one another. This one takes a little bit more of an RPG isometric perspective, which is something I think I prefer. The perspective in Brew works for what it is, but I just feel a little bit more in control just personally being more comfortable with this style. This had maybe one of the most impressive amounts of content in any of the Sokpop games I've played up to that point. Every additional corner had a new enemy type or a new weapon or something new to mess around with. That was really exciting. After I had already been playing it for nearly an hour, I kind of just had other things I needed to do with my day and other games I wanted to record, so I ended up just speeding through the game trying to see as much as I could, and even just doing that, skipping enemies. I couldn't see the whole game after like 10 minutes of doing so. I almost have no concept of how large this game is, but I think it'll take you like hours to play through. It's a pretty good bargain for $3. And something quite important to all of it is that the combat is surprisingly polished, especially considering the variety of weapon types. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things. Plus I love birds, so there's that. And my number one from these 2 seasons, Krakens Curse. When I saw that Sokpop had made a pirate roguelike, I was over the moon. Those are all the words that I wanted to hear consecutively this whole time. Definitely one of Sokpop's best. I'm trying to be non-biased here. I obviously love roguelikes, but I would say the gameplay is based in more action and crafting and other things that mean the game could still be very enjoyable to you, regardless if you care about the roguelike genre. It was crazy intuitive. Running around on islands, sailing between them and navigating, collecting different things, trying to craft to repair your boat. The battles, both on land and at sea, were very fun. You get to traverse from one island to the next, finding maps and treasures and hints of other islands that you should go to hunt for more maps and treasures. It just had it all. I've never played Black Flag or Sea of Thieves, but I'm going to go ahead and blindly make the statement that this is the best pirate game there is. You heard it here first. No, I really adored this one. It took me maybe about an hour and a half to 100% complete it, but I had a wild amount of fun with those 90 minutes. And with that, that is my ranking of seasons 3 and 4 from Sokpop. Similar to what I did last time, I want to have all of them on screen right now so you can see how they rank internally within their own seasons. And then at the end here, I want them all together on the screen so you can see the full ranking. I'm trying to color code them so you guys can see specifically which ones came from which season to get maybe more of an overall scope of that. At this point, I believe there are 53 Sokpop games released, so there are enough that I could already do another one of these videos for games 33 through 48. There are a couple of those I actually haven't played myself yet. In the meantime, let me know what you guys think of these videos. What are your favorite Sokpop games? Do you agree with my rankings? I'll have a link in the description and in these end cards if you want to see my Let's Plays of every individual Sokpop game, and check down below to go check out Sokpop's Patreon and help them keep making 2 amazing games per month. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.